Hello everyone, and welcome to the Human Race page. Today I'm going to show you some things that the ancient Egyptians knew about meditation and what we need to learn from them so that we can start practicing meditation in a scientific manner and gain progress in developing the spiritual and physical mentality we need to balance our lives with. That's the purpose of meditation, to take us into a balanced condition, and God is the only place where balance is to be found. Okay? Now, I did some meditating on this video before we started, and the one sentence I'd like for you to receive from this is, I must overcome the sensing of me to find the divine within me. Now I feel it's important for you to understand why we meditate wordlessly, and also what it's like to enter into that beautiful ecstatic mentality. Let's take someone that is pretty popular down through the history, Michelangelo for one. A great painting genius, did the Sistine Chapel ceiling, painted beautiful portraits to such a genius extent that it actually changed the mentality of the people who attended that church at that time. The people could not read. They would attend church and would have to listen to the minister, and those who could read some of the scripture. Yet Michelangelo did a wonderful service of taking his genius and manifesting it in painting, and people could understand and relate to what they saw in those paintings. Now, Michelangelo, his body was no different than your body or my body. His brain did not know any more than your brain does. In other words, information did not make Michelangelo a genius. Touching that ecstatic self periodically with desire to know. He did this wordlessly. He didn't do this scientifically because he didn't know. He had no idea why he was the way he was. Most of us have no idea why we are what we are, yet this type of meditation was taught to him by nature, taught to him wordlessly. And that's what you're learning whenever you come up with a beautiful, genius idea about your job or your work activities or creating things or poetry or painting. When you touch into that ecstatic brilliance of you, you have touched into your ecstatic light. And that is the purpose of meditation, is to become skillful at desiring to get into that light, as Michelangelo often did. And the more often you touch that light, the more balanced your life becomes, and the less selfish your life becomes, the more giving your life becomes, and the more re-giving comes back to you. That is what is meant by love thy neighbor. It is not a physical love thy neighbor. It is not a condition where you give material things such as clothes or food or money. To love thy neighbor, you do exactly as people like Michelangelo did, or Bach or Beethoven. They gave from their bodies and their ecstatic light as well. The two go together. They don't go separately. You must manifest. The job of your body is to manifest your light and give it out in order to be re-given. Now, to show you this in a drawing that I made, you'll notice here a sort of triangle on its side. The invisible mind is back here in a wide area, and the other side is the focused, visible, sensing body. That sensing body is what you're into now as you watch this video. You have to be wide awake and focused in order to understand what I'm saying and what these drawings are about. On the other side, the invisible mind is a condition you will decentrate into for meditation. And that looks sort of like this. These are just examples of what can be done. But the body side is concentration, once again. And I did this triangle in dotted lines so that you would notice this is a condition of the meditating mind, is decentrated out. It is sort of like this is concentration and this is meditation. Okay? Now, perfect meditation isn't always achieved. There is degrees of meditation between the concentration and the decentration, and they work back and forth. You are a complete person because you have the ability to decentrate and the ability to concentrate. However, the more often you decentrate by meditation, the more you become aware of your inner self, the more you become balanced. And that's where we're at here on this third drawing. The blue lines represent awareness of the ecstatic self moving from the sensed, concentrated body to the meditation period. And if you can achieve something a little more spiritually minded and less, just a touch less of sensing, then you are living a wonderful life of exchanging back and forth. You see, this is another type of seesaw, whereby the farther end would be the concentration or red end, and the wide end would be the blue mother end, and they go back and forth, back and forth. Later on, I'll show you formations in the stellar systems in astronomy, where this same effect is done by the stars. So you could say the whole entire universe meditates as you meditate. And why is it this way? Well, for one thing, the universe must stay as one whole complete thing, sort of like a blanket of giving to be regiven waves. That's what waves are. They're giving to be regiven waves over a solid white still screen. That's why we say we live and have our very being in God's imagination. Now, let's look at another way to define giving to be regiven. When you meditate, you are going into the light to be given that which you desire, and you re-give it out to the world when you manifest it. That's what Michelangelo did with his paintings. He went into his invisible self, got the idea that he needed, or the instruction as to how to paint the tone or whatever. And yes, he did. His body had to practice, but yet his illuminations was there all the time. They are what drove him to give all he could possibly give. Now, I have to give you another definition of giving to be regiven, and that is called the law of the rabbit. I call it the law of... Yeah, I'm doing Toastmaster speech, honey. Anyway, this is how things work in the world of nature. Giving to be regiven is the rabbit law. The rabbit law says the rabbit eats the grass, the fox eats the rabbit, and the grass eats the fox. Even if the fox lies down in old age, the grass eats the fox. No matter what happens, this cycle is portrayed in every part of nature. It is a transformation process of giving to be regiven. When you breathe in, nature is giving to you to keep your body alive. When you breathe out, you are giving to nature so nature can take whatever you gave out and give it to other things. You see, the tree gives you your breath, and your out-breath is given to the tree. I hope you understand all of this. I hope you'll watch these videos more than once and really seriously consider going into your deep God awareness. And that is your purpose. That's the purpose of meditation, is to find that light within and manifest it in the most peaceful and wonderful and loving way. Thank you so much, and talk to you Friday. Bye-bye.